Good. Um, it is like, you know how like blockchain conferences are like struggling to really organize themselves, right? Like this one was like so well organized. I really have to give them that.
Wow.
It was so professional. Everything looked even like, I have to say, pretty, even though it wasn't really necessary to make anything pretty, right? But like it was even a pretty conference, right? And yeah, well organized and well structured when it came to the different panels. The panels were great. The presentations, the keynotes were also good, but like depending on your your knowledge level, it was sometimes maybe more difficult to follow them. So I felt that in the panels you had, amongst like four panelists and maybe one moderator, you at least had like one person you could actually relate to, right? And be like, oh, I enjoy this perspective or whatever. So I thought the panels were actually most of the time better than the actual keynotes. But yeah, and then there were like a ton of satellite events, too many parties, and oh, it was crazy, and too much alcohol and too much like
Oh
food and stuff.
no.
But it was good. I'm not gonna complain about that part. So yeah, no, it was good.
That
Okay,
sounds fun.
I think we're like, uh, I don't know. Do you guys think we can start? I mean, I'm recording anyway, so worst case, I guess some of the people will have to check the recording. I think worst case. Yeah, because like a lot of our people are actually in NFT Berlin right now. So I was at Permissionless last week, but this week is Berlin NFT or NFT Berlin. So Lauren is over there and some other members. Hence, they are not here today. Okay, cool. Let's start. Guys, tell us more about Wonderverse.
Awesome. Again, thank you for having us here. We're really excited to be able to present this to you. I'm Andros. I'm one of the co-founders of Wonder, and we essentially build like Web3 community collaboration tools. So, making it easy for decentralized organizations to streamline their workflows and build with their community, making sure that these contributors get paid in as many ways as possible, and then kind of like at the same time help these contributors build up their Web3 sort of reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, I'm Ed. I help Andros with partnerships and user research and just talking to partners to understand like how do we evolve the product to solve any pain points that pop up.
Yeah, and I think with that, we will go ahead and share screen. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Sweet, and feel free anytime to ask questions that might pop up. Let us know, or I think there's like a chat that Ed can take a look at, and we will try to like answer some of these questions as we go. Cool. So as we kind of mentioned, we want to build an easy workflow for contributors to be able to.
Oh, sorry.
Oops. Yeah, we want to build a workflow that makes it easy for contributors to tackle projects and tasks or bounties as easy as possible. So we know that most of the contributors that we talk to actually contribute to more than one organization. So as soon as someone logs in, they are able to see all the work that gets aggregated across the different organizations that they're part of. So you see here, like on the left, I'm part of the Wonderverse team, but also part of something called Sample DAO, where I can like kind of easily just like drag and drop things according to like a modified Kanban board. We kind of have this idea of proposals too, which is basically like ideas or feedback that like someone from the community is sort of pushing for to be executed on. We're going to make these sort of exportable to Snapshot very soon. And then each sort of project or task actually has this idea of a submission of work where you could link your GitHub pull requests or your Figma files or whatever piece of work that you did and attach it onto a sort of project or task. And if there's like a reward or grant associated with it, you can actually like make the payment from a Gnosis wallet that you attach. We'll go through that a bit later. Or you can sort of like use an off-payment platform sort of sort of way to pay, which is either like Polygon scanning, Ether scanning, or if you are using Utopia Labs, you can use Utopia Labs. If you're using Parcel, you can use Parcel. But we also know that everyone is also an admin sometimes, and so we make it easy for operators to actually look at all the decisions they need to make on like proposals, on submissions to approve. So you can very easily just like approve or reject things from this like one view and this dashboard. And then we also have membership requests where people like want to join your workspace, and you're able to easily like let them in. And then in each actual workspace for an org, it gets a little bit more interesting. So, you're able to create many different types of sort of things like tasks, where essentially like sort of projects or just like units of work that need to be completed. Milestones, which are kind of like high-level goals of the organization. A pod, which is like essentially a working group or like a guild or a sub-DAO, some might say. And then a bounty, which is like a sort of project or task that means that multiple people can submit things like bug bounties, like writing a tweet, making content, doing competitions, etc. And then a proposal, which is kind of like, we mentioned already, which is like a piece of feedback or idea that should be executed on. And then I think what makes us very unique is that we have this very like powerful role system where, each organization has these default roles where, you have the owner who has all the permissions from like adding people to paying people out, to the core team member who has like a subset of these permissions, but you can also edit them as you go. And then a contributor can kind of like create proposals, or they can like sort of tackle tasks or projects that haven't been claimed yet or assigned. But you can also create your own like role. You can create like a partner role, which can maybe like, create its own executable here. But you can also notice that like actually these things are token gated, or can be token gated. You can make it apply a rule so that like anyone with a crypto coven here, for example, if you have one, you automatically get access to this like core team role. And you can create these token gates very easily via like ERC20 tokens or NFTs. And then you can, as we kind of showed earlier, you can actually link multiple wallets to an org as well. So you might have like a wallet on Harmony, you might want to have one on like Ethereum mainnet, on like Rinkeby, and you can link like all of them to, depending on how you want to pay people out. And then we also have this like idea of a payments ledger, which like it's kind of like your payroll product where you can like just look at what exactly has been completed for this payment, and you can actually do batch pay. And then I think we're going to go through what working groups mean very quickly. So in a pod, basically, you can have these teams which are very flexible. They can be functional teams like engineering. They can be around a project like private alpha launch, or they could be around an idea like highest priority. And each pod or working group has their own specific workspace. And so you have your own tasks, and you can set like privacy on this workspace so that like essentially it acts like a private or Slack channel, where like only people in the DAO can see it, or you can create like a public pod where everyone can come and see what's being done. You can set like pod specific milestones, which are some teams use as sprints. So you can actually like set tasks that need to be completed so that this milestone is achieved. And then also what's important is that each workspace has its own permissioning. So like you could be a part of core team in the org level, but actually be like a leader of a working group. So this makes it possible for you to be able to do that. And then you can also configure a specific wallet per pod, so that like this makes it easier for budgeting and like budget allocation. And you can also make it so that teams can run autonomously because they can run their own payroll basically. So like you don't need to rely on a central sort of treasury team, and you can see all the things that need to be paid out. You pay it, through Gnosis attached wallet. You sign the transaction, and then basically you go to your Gnosis safe, and it actually batches everything up into one transaction. And through Wonder, you can pay via like Polygon, Arbitrum, Boba Network, Harmony, etc., on all these EVM compatible chains that Gnosis supports. And actually, if you pay on ETH, this actually saves a bunch of transactions because, like, obviously saves on gas. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of have this idea of bounties that we mentioned, which are essentially, competitions or, just things that you want to build to engage your community. like submit bug reports. You can create tiers of. Sorry, go ahead.
Anders, sorry, you're so fast. Is there also a way to reward people through, let's say, POAPs instead of payments? Could that be
that's
an
a really
option?
interesting question. Yeah, so right now we can support like ERC20 tokens as payment, but we're working on being able to reward people via like specific NFTs or POAPs as well, according to what they achieved, and actually gate on that specific POAP. So that's really on the roadmap right now.
That's super interesting. Also, just in the middle of this presentation, this is an incredibly cool product.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely are still building it, and thank you for the feedback already. Like, that's a great idea. That like we basically want to build things that are like flexible enough for like any organization to use, because obviously like there's so many different types of DAOs, and like the pain points are common pain points, but we also want to build like specific things that really help DAOs be unique basically in how they operate. And so sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. You're fast. If I don't jump in, I don't get a chance.
Sorry.
No, quick question, and I'll shut up, get out of your way, because this is good. I mean, this is really good. This thing is ultra organized, and while useful in its own form for any DAO out there, I mean, I see that immediately. I can see where simply relabeling the same forms, the same screens, relabeling them, you could repurpose the same framework for a dozen other applications. Is that something you could support at some near future? Because I happen to be with another DAO who's currently talking about redoing or starting a website, and they're talking about an entire rework of something that, quite frankly, this might be so much better than what they're trying to do. I don't mean anything negative against what they're doing, but they're trying to reinvent this.
Vlad, this is essentially the idea that you use these external tools to organize your DAO. So,
right, but this is
you should propose this to them.
The DAO. This wouldn't be to organize the DAO. This would be outward facing, using the same framework, where people visiting from other DAOs, and especially if they're already using yours, would be familiar with the flow and would be able to then access, because it's a resource DAO for other DAO. So they're building a resource so they would be able to put resource information in the same format and serve up that resource information. Yes, Mokasa, I really think she could. I don't know if you're familiar with her, I don't know, but I know that Stella just had a light bulb go on over her head. Because all the information she's wanting to serve up, if you just relabeled those screens that are popping up there and had them serve different information, oh my God, how much simpler that would be.
Okay, I think I'm getting you now, Vlad. Okay. I think you're thinking of this as like kind of like a documentation overview, right? So if
I'm thinking it could be.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm actually okay, Andros. To be very frank with you, we started using dwork, right?
Right.
But your product is very convincing, so on Sunday I would suggest we change.
Thank you.
It's also much more pretty, to be honest. I just have one question, and Vlad, I'm also using dwork right now, partially to store information that everyone would need to onboard a DAO, right? So it's definitely. I think you can use this easily like this. You're absolutely right. You just need to convince
So you're seeing where I'm
people.
coming from here. I'm not crazy on this one.
No,
no,
you're not crazy. You're not crazy, Vlad. Okay, so
we're all a bit crazy, but yeah, no, you're not crazy.
I mean, we're in Web3. We're all a little bit bonkers.
Yeah.
Is there a way, because this is something I have been missing, and I actually had to go to another tool to set this up. So all of those tasks, right, that we put in there, like we can set like deadlines for it, right? So is there a way to show on like a time stream, right? Like all of the different tasks and when they are ending, or from when to when they're working. So right now I'm using Rike for that, and it's super annoying, right? Because yet you have to use another application to visualize what you already put into another
I
application.
see.
Make sense?
Yeah. So you're talking about a Gantt chart, kind of, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
where you see like the calendar view of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, like we kind of the way we circumvent that is we have a due date per task, of course, but we kind of have this idea of like all the milestones which have its own kind of like deadlines, and so I think like separating that out basically makes it easier for you to visualize all the sort of big roadmap goals and see all the due dates there. But we're working on like a Gantt chart kind of idea currently. So
Thank
like I think
you.
that's
Thank you.
having that is we're working on that definitely. And then Vlad, to answer your question, we also have this idea of like docs, so which makes it so that like obviously everyone kind of uses Notion or Google Docs, but that gets really messy very quickly because anyone can just create documentation. So we have a section particularly called docs, which are just like, you put your higher signal documentation onto here, like your onboarding docs, your style guides, your coding style guides, things like that. And you can actually like just upload from like Notion, from like linked from like Google Docs, from Figma,
Awesome.
etc. All in one place, so that you can more easily just like when people come to a board, they might see a bunch of stuff and they're like, well, I don't even know what's going on. Whereas if there's a section that's like, hey, these are all the guides that you need, it makes it easier basically to understand like what's going on, and also then to like tackle the work.
I
That's
think it would need to have a search engine for the amount that we're talking, and be a searchable thing. But no, you're right there, man. No, you're beautiful, baby. Right there. This is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about, because it fits in with another project I've been working on that I've bugged Stella about, I've bugged Mo about, I've bugged everybody under the sun about, and I can see it being used amazingly for another project I've been trying to deal with, because it won't work by me doing it standalone, but with something like this to plug in, somebody else can do it turnkey pretty easy. No, I'm going to shut up now and get out of the way, because I'm holding you up. You need to keep going. You're wonderful.
No worries.
What's your API sort of roadmap, Andros, on this?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We're still building up our API so that like obviously you can ping it and then you can grab a list of the tasks. We also have right now currently like we have this idea of like an analytics sort of part where, oh, by the way, I'll show that later actually. So like you have this idea of analytics, which are essentially like, for example, these are the things that get completed in the last 2 weeks. You can set it so that it's like maybe start of the month, a bunch of different things. And you can see how everyone's been contributing and like exactly what they've done. But more importantly, you can actually export these into like a CSV, so you can just like export
Andros,
the data.
This is so good. You have no idea.
Thank you. We've just been trying to improve it, and so you can actually import this into Parcel or other types of payment platforms too.
Awesome. I have another question. I'm always poking into the right spots usually, but so we can pay people, right? But let's just say we don't have our own token right now, and we just want to. So what we're doing now, or why we are using dwork essentially, is because it integrates with Coordinape, and so we can give token allocations of give to people, right?
Yeah, of course.
And this kind of neat because it helps you to keep track of what people have already contributed, especially like core members. And eventually the aim is to translate those like fake contributions or those fake tokens, right, to the original like token or the actual token allocation. So is there a way to do something similar within Wonderverse where we can assign like essentially fake coins?
So we are actually this week pushing out this thing called points, which are like, you see on the right here, it's not out yet, but like you would be able to keep a tally of the points assigned for each project or task, and you can like keep track of this in your project. But at the same time, because like coordinate, you can kind of like set the time period to match like the coordinate epoch. And what you can do essentially is like you see like, oh, these are the things that Adam has done, and so very easy in the same like coordinate epoch, depending on how you set your coordinate timelines, and you can actually like allocate the give that way too. So so it's going to be flexible. You can either do it with us, or you can like just look at the data and be able to do it with Coordinate. We're working on our Coordinate integration for you to actually see like the task done on Coordinate, but even right now you can very easily match that depending on what your
I would rather do it directly on your platform without even going through that secondary step, because it's
Okay.
A lot of people are struggling with this, and to keep like everything in one place would be just so helpful. So if there is a way to keep we could just keep track of the tasks, right? Because everyone can be reviewed by tasks, and then can you if you go to Adam, for example, can you see exactly like review, look at payment, reach out to Connor? Okay, you can exactly see what people did. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you
That's awesome.
trigger sort of thresholds? You could automate some of the payment elements. I mean, obviously you can review it manually, right? But I'm just wondering if you could set certain triggers where 2, 3, 4, 5 tasks get completed. It's empirical, and a payment's triggered automatically.
Yeah, that's a great point. We currently aren't doing automatic. So all the payments we do are through Gnosis. So what we're working on right now is like actually from this view, like being able to have a easy modal for you to be able to say like, 'cause some people, they mark work, or like they pay per hour, for example, and so from like this kind of data on like how much someone has done and how many points it's allocated, you can. We want to create a quick little modal for you to say, like, oh, Adam has done like 500 USDC of work this week. Junius has done X amount, for you to be able to quickly be able to set how much each person gets paid and then do it. It will then populate in the payments ledger, where you can then just like run a bunch of like different payroll problem things.
Right. So it's probably not a prerequisite, but it would make sense then for DAOs to run their own multi-sig Gnosis setup and then integrate that with yours in terms of payment flow.
All you need to do to configure your wallet is like, if you are an owner of a multi-sig, you just need to give a name, and then like you just put the safe address, and then we determine whether or not you're the owner. And if you're the owner, you can just add it to this wallet if you have the right permissions.
Perfect.
Deep thought. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm always thinking what you're thinking, Star.
Good.
We need to be 2 steps ahead of the game, don't we? I really like it though. I think you guys have done some nice stuff, and I guess there's potential as well for when you have multi-pods to have multi-pod action. By that I mean you could have DAOs who need assistance or help, and you could then coordinate like workflow into DAO as well as in a DAO as well as intra-DAO, if that makes sense.
So you can do like sort of like pod to pod interaction, right. And even we're thinking like our next sort of idea is like, obviously we know that pretty much every DAO has a partnerships arm, so we're thinking very heavily about like DAO to DAO collaboration as well.
Right. So you could effectively allow DAOs to put up bounties, and then DAOs that have the resources or the wherewithal can pick up those bounties and fulfill them, all within your platform.
Yeah, that would be some of the ideas of like bounties that other DAOs or members from other DAOs can take.
Yeah.
And then just one final thing, I guess. Well, actually, I guess I was showing the bounty stuff, so I'll just like quickly just say what I mean about like you can basically set competitions or tiers to say like this is like a really major bug that someone found in the bug report. You can actually like change this to then reward like 1,000 USDC basically on each one. If it's
Ed is keeping
reports.
track that you are paying yourself the whole time, right?
Yes, that is what I do.
Just messing with you. Sorry.
No worries.
You found us cunning plan there.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, Dean.
No, I was only joking. It's my English sense of humour. Go on, Vlad.
Well, my thought is this could easily become a hub for DAOs, which if other hubs for DAOs are, integrate with, this could become a juggernaut for the entire ecosystem. I mean, I could see that easily. Anybody that wants to be, a centralized hub where the entire ecosystem comes into, because this could easily become a standard, just because it's so organized and well laid out. And that's not to put down anybody else that's done anything. Everybody has been out there trying to figure this thing out. And I'm not going to say that nobody else could do it better, because one of these days somebody can figure something out. But this is the best I've seen so far by a long ways. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So question, and apologies for rocking up late, but you're not running your own smart contract in essence, because you're doing it all via the Gnosis sort of nucleus, as it were. So therefore, there's no need for like a CertiK audit, or so there's no effective code for you guys to, put out to dry and have an audit on it. Is it open source on GitHub?
Yeah, our front end is open source. We're still going through some security audits for our back end, and obviously that would need to be done as well to really for us to have our own set of open APIs for you to be able to like query data and all that. So that's on our roadmap right now. And then I think like in terms of interacting with the blockchain, other than that, it's like our token gating functionality. So like we talk with like open protocols like Lit protocol to essentially like do token gating on ERC20 tokens and NFTs.
Cool. Yeah, you read my mind. I was just wondering if you could just pay yourself indefinitely.
So you can do tiered bounties. We also have like Discord integrations that I wanted to just quickly highlight. You can
would have been my next question. So funny. Okay.
Sorry. So you can actually get DMs for when someone requests to join your workspace, when you get assigned something, when someone submits something, and a bunch of different notifications. Actually, you can actually edit what you would like to receive here, just because we know that your Discord gets pinged a lot. These are like by default everything's checked, but obviously you can like go ahead and fine tune this. But we also support sort of channel-wide notifications, so that you can basically see an activity feed of everything that gets created and completed in your workspace. So that's basically it.
So you originally big team size in terms of the sort of dev team and general team composition?
Oh, you mean us? I think currently we're kind of a team of 12 or so people. Our dev teams we also operate as a DAO, so we have like at any one time 5 to 10 contributors. We have about like 4 devs, 3 full-time, and then 1 who's like part-time, and then a few DAO contributors who like come in and out. So that's kind of like the structure of how we ship.
Yeah, gotcha. So where are you guys based? You're a geographically dispersed team. Do you have a
Yeah.
sort of core hub anywhere, or?
We don't really have a core hub anywhere. I personally live in San Francisco, but we all travel around, I guess, nowadays in Web3 to so really we live by the conference schedule. So yeah, we're currently in Mexico City, but normally I'm in SF and the team just we have some people in America.
Cool.
So
yeah.
Okay, so
if we real Web3 then.
Very Web3. So if we want to move to Wonderverse, right? How can we do this? What's the easiest way? Because obviously we already have tasks up on the work, right? How can we migrate essentially?
Yeah. So
please don't tell me I have to do it manually. Please don't.
So basically, we would help you. Normally, how we work with different orgs is we help them set up their workspace. So they would have asks or projects from multiple different Web2 tools, and we would help export some of them. We would create your pods for you in terms of if you want any working group structure you want. So we would help you do that, and then we would give you the link to the workspace.
Awesome. Okay. Deep thought. Should we, after the video is recorded, should we set up a poll and finalize this on Sunday?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I really like what you guys are doing. I can see the vision, and I think there's a definite niche gap in the market, obviously, which you guys can exploit.
Thank you.
Yeah, also just wanted to. Oh, sorry. I just also wanted to mention everything that Andros has demoed to you. When we're working with partners, we love to continuously have conversations with you to better understand how does your needs evolve, and so we're very open to co-building and collaborating on what the future iterations of the product looks like. So just don't think of it as here's your workspace and I'll see you never. It's more like here's your workspace, cool. Let's schedule another chat in 2 weeks and try to figure out what's working, what's not. A lot of the features that Andros just demoed, it was actually feedback from partners who were hey, we're having this pain point. The analytics and reporting, a lot of DAOs were telling us about that was one of the things that they spend hours and hours and hours on every month, and they don't look forward to it. So we're why don't we just build something? So yeah, we're very collaborative.
That's cool, and it goes both ways because disgustingly, some of us still work in Web 2. I put my hand up to that, but we've got experience across the board in terms of enterprise companies, big global deployments, fashion. There's a whole range of skill sets that sit within this group here that could also give you reciprocal feedback, in terms of real customer interaction in the outside world as well, and onboarding and all that type of stuff.
Actually, I will also put you guys up for voting in the Fashion DAO, because I think we have this spreadsheet with all of those different tools. You're really by far the best where I have come across. I have to, credit flat on this one. Also, Studio Lindheim. Ed, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm not that of a tech guy, but is this designed on top of Discord server, or is it a standalone?
Yeah, I mean, this is a standalone product that kind of integrates with Discord. So you can set channel-wide notifications, as I kind of showed on the video, and then also you can receive personal DMs as notifications. So it's heavily tied to Discord.
Okay, and but what about security then? Because Discord has so many flaws. And also, what about the data? Is it going? Can you run this on a private server, for example? That makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, everything right now is stored sort of on our back end, but our front end is open sourced. So So you could technically, if you use the right dummy data, you can run your own front end for this. But yeah, we are planning to open source our backend, just going through like audits right now.
Okay, but and the data, where it goes?
Yeah, so we store all the data sort of proprietarily, but like at the same time, obviously we have like a standard privacy policy of like obviously not leaking your data, etc. And then I think eventually as well, we're working with some teams like Radical to actually like make some of the data available on Ceramic if people want, because obviously sometimes you don't want certain project or task data to be public on the blockchain. So yeah.
Yeah, so
I guess
everything.
Yeah. Go
Yeah,
for it, Studio.
So I try to understand this. So everything will be stored on the blockchain?
No, so everything is stored on our servers, but the payment data is obviously like on chain. So
Okay,
all the payments will be on chain, obviously.
So obviously now it's stored on your back end, and I don't know whether that's cloud or on-prem. I mean, there's no real difference these days, but do you encrypt data at rest as well as in forget in transit? Do you encrypt data at rest when it's on your back end?
Yeah, when you say encrypt, you mean like encrypt user data, right? User specific data.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so we like all the user data that we do is like encrypted, or like the password. Actually, we don't use passwords, so like it's whatever. But we are working on encrypting like more and more of our task and project data right now. And in terms of user data, everything's tied to your wallet. So really, like the only data that you would have is like your username. So we don't keep any like data like your email or your password.
Right. Sorted hashes and all that jazz. So
No
in the
passwords.
future, then no. Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, we don't use passwords. So
A very beginner-like question. If I want to invite someone new to our page, how would that work? Very beginner-like.
Yeah, we have like an invite. We have like an invite button that.
Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we have an invite button on the
And
top.
people connect, like people set up a classic email, username, whatever account, or can they just sign up with a wallet? Because I know some people are anon, right? And I kind of want to keep respecting that. So that's kind of important.
So you'll be able to sign up with your wallet, or you can do Discord login. So those are the two types right now.
Perfect.
We don't want
Wallet.
to, as we said,
Okay,
we don't want
cool.
to keep email.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to keep email or password data.
Okay.
Because obviously that is sensitive information.
Cool.
One more quick.
And then for the future, if when you open source your back end, it means then you could do Amazon, or you could stick it locally or whatever. Is that?
Yeah.
Is
The
that
idea is that
something-
you could run your own sort of node or wonder node.
Yeah, thank you.
Quick question. It is incredibly well organized, however, it is still also incredibly complex. How are the tutorials for getting somebody who may or may not be quick on the uptake for it to get up to speed?
Yeah, so we have two sets of tutorials. We have a video set of video tutorials and also a Git book to guide people through things currently. So yeah.
But you could also ping me if you have any questions.
Yeah, you can also
Aw.
ping us anytime.
Okay, but I actually saw your Git book before. It's very structured, so I guess flat. We just it's like with everything that's new. We just get started, and then as we get started, right, in the beginning it will not be as overwhelming as the interface that Andros just showed you or showed us, because in the beginning you just have, you don't have that many tasks. And what I found out, because I honestly, like one of our former team members, he was the one who suggested D-Work, right? And I looked at it and I was like, no, this is like fucking Trello. I hate Trello. And I really didn't want to use it. And then I was kind of glad he introduced us to it, right? And now like your tool is obviously, and the advanced version of that, right? And it's also looking so much more pretty, which makes it much more appealing for the people that are actually in the server. I wonder, Mo, can you speak? Are you available to speak? Just checking in the chat.
She might be on home care
Yeah.
duties.
She might not be able to speak, but I would be super curious to learn more about what Mo thinks. Okay, no, but I think we're gonna vote on this, Andros, Ed. I think this is this is how we roll. We gotta vote on shit.
I mean,
So yeah, and then I will get back to you after Sunday. But I already received some direct messages that tell me that this is so much cooler. So I think this voting has already been concluded before it even started. Does anyone have more questions?
Not a question, but a comment. So we actually voted to, and it was a tie for all the things, and I'm really happy that it was a tie because we didn't even get started setting up the D worker. So this worked out, I think, and really nice setup, I think.
awesome. And also anyone feel free to DM me. I'm 0x Andros. I'm also in the server, and I think Ed is also in the server. So please feel free to reach out to us anytime. And yeah, thank you so much for the time.
Can you put your links and the Discord maybe once more in the general chat? That'd be okay?
Yes.
Because yeah, we have a lot of DAO people around here, so who knows who else is gonna come and jump into your Wonderverse boat. Vlad, I think did you want to say anything more, or are you good? Just checking in with everyone.
I've caused enough trouble for one day. Oh, come on, I know better than that.
You never cause trouble. You always make me smile. Oh, this is nice. Zoe, do you have any comment on this?
Honestly, it was just super exciting to see, and also kind of get people's feedback, because when you're stuck in, like, whenever we talk about D-work, it's like, okay, we're doing this, it's a struggle, but kind of it always feels kind of very individual. So it's nice hearing about it in terms of just also seeing how excited people are about it, but also it just looks so cool. It sounds like a really cool project, so yay.
Very much.
Sorry, Snom. But yeah, thanks,
No,
guys.
why? This was nice.
I wish I recorded that so we can play for Ben, our head of design.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you need it, you just let me know and I'll record that for you specifically and be like, there you go. If you need proof that you guys are doing well, here it is.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think.
Just all the use cases I can think of to do with it. Whoa.
I'm looking forward to that, Vlad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's in the UK there's something called IR35, or there was something called IR35, and that was effectively a umbrella company that got set up where you could have multiple consultants that worked under that umbrella, and they went and did consultancy, but it was a central agency that paid them. Moving forward, that's sort of slightly changed because of tax laws in the UK, but this is similar. You could employ this as a similar thing for, Web3 remote workforce, where you need that sort of ability to pay disparate people, all over the world, and it gets quite complicated in terms of, currency conversions and all that stuff when you can do it natively in crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Then a lot of people have to use Deal to pay people, but that's only for like basically full-time payroll and not like one-off or recurring payments or even part-time. So yeah, we imagine that this would work for like not only DAOs but NFT communities, obviously DeFi protocol, open source projects, social tokens. So we're trying to build it to be as flexible as possible.
Yeah, the new Fiverr, you can call it tenor.
Inflation.
Yeah, inflation.
Amen.
All right, guys.
Good.
I don't know.
Appreciate
You
your
have
time.
you have any more secrets you want to reveal to us, like a voting integration or something?
We are doing a snapshot integration pretty soon for the proposal.
You are?
So
Oh my god.
yes, we are.
Oh
We
my
will.
god.
We will.
This is the
That's
best
hopefully
thing
out.
that has happened like for the whole year so far. This is gonna make everything so much easier.
It's like when
Guys,
King Arthur
everyone's
said,
gonna
"Lies on the
vote
Holy
yes.
Grail," isn't it?
Everyone has to vote yes on this because I don't want to deal with the other shit anymore.
It's like the Holy Grail, isn't it? So
Yeah, it is. You know, working in Web3, Deep Thought has no idea how this feels because he's only here half the time. But it's
yeah,
so
I'm only a
stressful.
part-timer.
It's it's so stressful, and you have to organize so many different things like all the time. And to actually have a tool that, you know, makes this easier is just, it's a lifesaver because you anyway don't get to sleep. But you know, if you also have to keep track of all the tasks and no one is using the tool because no one feels excited about it, right? It just makes it very painful for the person who's organizing all of it. So you
We're
probably
always
will.
excited.
Yeah, those guys will probably enable me for 1 more hour of sleep per night. I'm telling you. So that's nice.
Yeah, totally get that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we have a plan. Last round of questions. Otherwise, Rams Council call will be concluded. Daniel, Anna,
Just love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much.
great.
Yeah.
Mo will. I'm just going to check the general chat if someone said anything. Okay, great. So I'm going to pin this, Jack. A message. Okay. Cool. No, I think we're good. And I will get back to you guys after the voting. And then we can probably start setting it up. That's okay.
Awesome. No, that works great. Thank you again, everyone, for your time, and yeah, really appreciate the kind words as well. We'll continue, doing what's best for you guys, and also like the ecosystem as a whole. So thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh my God. Before you run off, real quick question for you on the side.
You have to speak louder. I'm having so much trouble
Oh.
understanding you.
That's because